All right. Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great Tuesday evening. We are obviously in December. I can't believe it. There are Christmas lights all on my patio. There'll probably be more because I am trying to win a patio contest this winter. But I'm really excited about our guest today for Money Talks, Love Listens. Our guest and our topic today mainly is about balance, about balancing your work life as well as your love life. We spend a lot of time talking on this channel about relationships and dating and finance, but we never really have a guest where we can merge the two. So I'm really excited about today. Our guest today is Joy Bigelli. He is from Toronto. Is that right?
Yeah, Toronto, Canada.
We're going international.
Glad to be on.
Toronto's one of my favorite cities. I make a joke all the time that I'm secretly Canadian. I just want to be Canadian. Those that know me know why I make that joke. Because it's Canada, okay? And especially right now, our country's not doing too well. So you guys can just take me, it'd be an awesome time. But until then, I love to hear kind of the journey and story of our guest. I love hearing how people kind of get started in their own business and careers and kind of end up, following their passions. So, Joey, without further ado, I would love for you to give kind of a short little blurb about what you do, who you are, and who who your clients are.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much for having me on, Gwen. Appreciate that. And I'm really looking forward to this chat. Yes. So for me, today is a different story than when I definitely started. So it was about 5 years ago. I've been also very intertwined into the music industry out here in Toronto. And my background originates in the music and the creative space. Once playing and participating a lot in the scene out here, I moved and started creating a brand online with podcasting. So I started to host artists from around the world. They share their mixes, they put their musics together on an hour segment. And it all started out in an engineering firm, actually. I was designing on one computer, and on the other computer, I was tuning in via earbuds. I just got bored. I was like, you know what, we can do something here. We can make something of this. And that kind of just started my journey. At first, I was kind of pulling in all directions, and then I realized there's an actual opportunity here to have a platform that artists can succeed on, to thrive, to connect with other artists, individuals, and leaders around the world, to ultimately continue to pursue their passion. So I really started to embody that message, and I valued it so much. Then the advancements and social media, everything started to really come into light a couple years later, with big wave, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, and all these different channels. It started to be more evident that we needed to get marketing involved, and a lot of trial and error in the beginning. And it was really just pushing through and connecting with the right pages and partners at that point. So today we're a strong brand out here out of Toronto. But since COVID hit, we were ready to move into the event space. So fast forward to today, our page, we're doing well numbers. We're connecting artists from around the world and pages. And COVID hit hard the industry. And, as we all know from other industry, it's not just the one. But the entertainment space, everything shut down, events couldn't happen, gigs were canceling. We were ready to go down that route. And even then, even though I was in marketing, I was like, I need to still rev it up. Like I was hitting that glass ceiling, and I started to dive into story brand. So I took story brand, I started embodying it in that while bringing that into the music industry, still started plummeting more. And I was hoping I can catch that and keep that spinning. But I also noticed brands and businesses all around me. So through the successes of the artists and individuals I've helped online, I started to take that information, apply story brand, started to build and work with small businesses locally, became certified as a guide, and now have and manage a full band and business, helping out individuals all over the world too with their businesses. And so that's where I'm at today, and still with that mission and helping individuals find solutions to their problems. It is a tough time. There's a lot of uncertainty, right. And having the strategies in place with the right people on your team, you can definitely see success.
Well, that's a wonderful story, and you are right. I think probably the two hardest hit industries are probably food and beverage, restaurants. I know many restaurant owners who are just there's nothing. There's
For
nothing.
sure.
Nothing can be open, and depending on the city or country you're in. And then,
For sure.
yeah, number two would definitely be music and, you know, nightlife. Just independent artists who just, they don't have access to, you know, getting their music out. So I really applaud you for taking on that, because that many people would, you know, help people that are in that industry, especially now, which is a big
doing. It's admirable to see, like, there's a lot of artists pushing through, and the local scene is really starting to become a, you know, in any city, imagine where you are too, the local artists will definitely start to stand out, because you know, in the future, we're not going to see travel as easy. At least up here in Canada, we're not going to see the border crossing. So the international acts are gone, and people are going to fill the space. So it's actually really nice to see locals start to, you know, well, people accept the locals, because a lot of times it'd be like, who's headlining, who's the band coming in, let's go see them, and maybe somebody compliments them locally, but it's really about the other person. I feel like that switch is happening now. So yeah, it's amazing to see, but it is super tough.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the first time I heard music in my area, probably like 2 months ago, it was outside on the corner. I've never experienced, like, I cried because I was like, oh my God, someone's playing music. Like, this is normal.
Yeah.
It was my Starbucks cut.
A little bit of normal coming through. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's live, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, especially right now, because they are working from home. I think somewhere I saw where people are now working more than they were even before the pandemic, because everyone thinks like, well, since you're at home, you're not doing anything, which obviously is not true for 90% of us. But people are working more even on weekends. So what could be your tip for a lot of entrepreneurs right now, where I feel like there's no separation between work life or work time and, you know, personal life? Because whether you have your own workspace or your, you know, corner or whatever you have in your home, a lot of people aren't taking the time for themselves, and they're just like, well, I'll just do it on a Saturday, I do it on a Sunday. I've had to make it a rule just on my own not to work during the weekend, because otherwise I would never be a person. So what's kind of your tip for people who are trying to find that balance?
I think you just get a good point there, and it was that, you know, you make the time. You know, I'm, you know, with people I work with, and myself included, I just live by my schedule. I'm sure people do that to a point, and maybe work too much and too long. But I make it a point to really separate and put boundaries between my work, my play, and you know, our relationship, and everything is all on the schedule. So it may sound weird to tell your loved one, you know, pencil me in, but that's what you say. I'll pen you in, you know, I'll make sure you're there, not pencil where it's changeable, but, you know, really separating the boundaries. So knowing when, you know, like this morning, for example, I got up at 6:30. That's what I normally do. I actually have like a little morning book club. So I have that accountability to get up. I do my work, and I took the better part of the morning to about 11:30 off to enjoy with my girlfriend. And I just set that right. I knew that was happening. So I made sure that I didn't distract myself in that moment. And likewise for this Thursday, I was telling you before, my mother's birthday, I already told myself 30% of the morning is going to be done to a little bit of work. And I don't really have much going on, because I'm making sure I get the work done before, but I'm blocking off that segment specifically. So I know that I'm not going to check emails. I'm not going to check and do any work, or be having somebody, you know, relying on me to finish a project. I'll make sure that I reach out to them and say, hey, you know what, this is either happening or the date's going to be pushed a little bit, because I know my schedule. I know what I'm going to be doing on this day. I know what time I'm going to be taking off if I do, or certain events are coming up, and scheduling that in. So I'm really religious about that. And if that's the one tip, it's just that really take the time to lay out your week, you know, for sales calls in the morning, relationships, or spend time with the evening past 6 o'clock, you're finished, right? And just really start to stick to it and hold yourself accountable to it. It may be a little challenging at first, but that might be a question of how you structure your work, right? So bringing it back to that, what's your major 3 projects potentially, or tasks for the day, and attacking that first, and accordingly with tasks that can be maybe pushed, you fill in the rest of the afternoon. So obviously there's a lot of variables, depends on your work. But what I can really say is, if you can really dial in your schedule, things become a lot easier. You'll find your energy, and everything starts to really fit.
Yeah. I found that I heard somewhere where people are more productive in the afternoon. That I'm not a morning person. If you call me in the morning, I'm sorry, I sound like a crazy.
No way.
Like, are you okay? I'm like, no. Why are you calling me this early? Call me at like noon. Like, I am not a morning person. I am up way too late. I've tried to be better about that, but I come alive after like 3 o'clock. I look like I'm dead before then. I don't know what's happening, but it's like a vampire. So, but that's okay because I don't schedule anything very hectic or anything that I really need to be creative or busy and work hard on in the morning. So I just, I schedule it later in the afternoon or the evening.
I think everybody's different. Yeah, it's tough to really dial that in if your schedules are, night shifts and, you have the whole day to sleep or vice versa. And the awareness is just to be like, one of the techniques I like to use, the Pomodoro effect. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Okay, so basically, I'll just explain it quickly, is that you get about a block, about 140 minutes, 25-minute segments with 5-minute breaks, right? So in the 25-minute segments, you're going all in. You're working, you're not distracting, you're not touching your phone, nothing, with a timer. And once it beeps, the 5 minutes gives you that ability to distract yourself. So now you can pick the phone up, get a snack, whatever that might be for you. Then the 25-minute section comes back on again for 5 minutes, followed by this. So there's 3 usually. That's what I like to do. And the last 25 minutes followed by 15 minutes. So that's the reward system that you can, have for yourself. So you're not really feeling like you're just spinning your wheels or not accomplishing for the day. So whether that be something you do more in the morning with a big task or something in the afternoon, you can balance it out a lot easier because time is valuable. But I really think it's the energy that you put in is more value to time. Right. So showing up to the task, whatever that might be, again, you're blocking your clock off for your family. It's like showing up for that and eliminating distractions. Right. So that makes sense. But yeah, it definitely is variables for individuals and their work life. I think if you understand the reasons why to wake up, you'll start to make it make sense in your mind if you've been considering it. I've worked late into the evenings as well, and I find my most creative juices going because of all the day's ideas, just channeling into that last night push, and I just don't go to sleep. I'm like, why would I? I'm in such a flow right now.
Yeah, I get yelled at about this, but I don't care.
Yeah.
But no, these are great tips. I see people like with heart, so they do enjoy that tip. That was a really good tip. My next question, kind of keep things moving into the relationship aspect, is a lot of people are starting businesses right now, or have started pre-pandemic, but definitely I've seen it more in the pandemic. They're starting businesses with their spouses or loved one or boyfriend, girlfriend. I have my own bias against this, but that's because I have family members who were intertwined in business, and it's kind of weird because you can yell at each other 5 minutes later and then be fine after that because it's just work. But I don't know if it would work for every family. I definitely would never have a business with my current partner because we would drive each other crazy in a workspace. And we talk about this all the time. That's a bad idea. For sure. What is your take on this? Do you think, people should do that? Do you think, that's not a good idea? Have you seen it work? Have you seen it crash?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've already seen both, happen. And more so of it not happening, and potentially that's because of it popping up more as a, negative. Negative seems to go through the internet quicker, whatever you want to say in that sense. But personally, I'm not against it. No, I think you really have things written out. You understand each other's roles, and you're giving each other you understand if someone's not putting in more to the other. That stuff you can kind of, in hindsight, you can look at it, and then that'll be kind of your determining decision, if that makes sense. Yeah. But at the flip side, I would say is that it's definitely something to be cautious about. And just to make sure you have a clear understanding, because it's about all the time in the day and then the nights you be with the person. So almost like 24/7 if you're living with them, especially. Yeah. So being able to have those fine lines, I think is all right. But like I've seen Grant Cardone and individuals in the industry where their spouses are tightly working together, right? And they complement each other. They fit each other's roles. Well, someone's good at this, the other person's good at that. And they understand that about each other, especially as a family. It's like, who's taking care of the kids tonight, who's not. So, really defining those roles in advance, I think, can help. Because, there's Titans out there that, are this duo and they just seem to be crushing it, right? And it just seems to be really working out. And I think there's a clear line of communication. They understand what the other person is doing, right or wrong, and they're asking when it's not, going right. Tom Bilyeu and Lisa as well are great examples that pop into mind. They really show how it works, and they actually talk about it. They actually say, what are the questions? You can go on their Instagram right now, not to like drop and take it off and stick with love talk, but they have questions to say, like, these are things you could ask your partner in situations in a business. And it's about going deeper. It's about going next level. A lot of people are surface level and they say, oh, he said, okay, right? He said, it's fine. It's like, well, I don't think it was fine, right? So it's about going a little bit deeper, asking other questions, having clear goals and visions, and to ask the question of the vision for the other person. It's like, does this vision align with you? Like, maybe it's more of my vision that you've come into. So if that's the case, do I take a little bit more control with certain questions, right? Or certain variables or certain things that come in? Or do we do 50-50, right? It's, again, defining those in advance and having consistent, clear communication. And just to go back to Tom, I'm pretty sure if Lisa just says Tom, like his name in a certain tone, he stops everything. He's just like, that's when I know to speak and give her the attention of the time. And they just define that in advance. It's not that like he's in trouble. It's just that, again, they've defined it in a way to be able to, get each other's attention whenever it needs to be and to get to the next point. So that would be my thoughts on the whole situation. My relationship is not connected in business. And like you, I think, she's a great lover in so many ways that she connects us together. And, she's got her own goals and visions, and which wouldn't align, right? And that's the thing. So I wouldn't want her to do that because I know it wouldn't be the same vision and alignment.
Right. No, that makes sense. Mine is in science, so that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's saying 95% of the time. Like, what did you say? What is that?
You get a translator. Like, yeah, exactly.
I've used Google because I don't understand what he's talking about 90%.
Yeah.
But I guess you can kind of jump off of this question because I'm wondering, just from a financial point, obviously a lot of businesses, you should have insurance, you should have life insurance, etc. Even as an individual person. But how does that work if you're in a business together with someone that you're in a relationship with?
Well, it's good leeway. Actually, it's interesting because my wife is in finance as well, and she was one of my business partners, and it didn't work well. I mean, we working together and living together is not easy. So setting ground rules, I highly recommend. But Joey, just a little bit about me is that I'm a vice president of a private wealth management firm. I specialize in the small to mid-sized business owners and been doing this for 20 years. And really I work in 3 tiers where I work in risk management, wealth accumulation, and wealth disbursement. And my biggest thing, and most people on the podcast know, is that I just want to give clientele a good experience where I want to implement strategies that make sense, that they can handle, and then they can work for and grow toward, as they grow with their plans. What Gwen mentioned about, finance and insurance and whatnot, it's interesting with the small to mid-sized business owners, because, everyone wants to do everything. The owner wants to be the janitor. The janitor wants to be the owner. From you and you have an interesting transition, from the music industry to now, being a coach for all business owners, really how you build your book of business. What do you think some of the biggest hurdles you have when you talk to those kinds of clientele? At least in 2020.
What's that?
I said at least in 2020. Yeah,
right. So I've also worked many people inside the fitness space as well. And I find the challenges, they seem, the mindset's there and they're ready to go. And a lot of that is carried into what you just said, wanting to do it all. And it's just overwhelming, and it's a lot of work on their end. They end up working more in their business rather than on it, right? And that's the challenge that they're faced with. So when they're stuck in that motion and they're seeing that the numbers aren't what they want it to be, and then they're trying to get the clients at the same time, but they're not converting. Then there's the lead generation they're trying to do organically, or the referrals have gone down because just the nature of what's happening in COVID. They're just not even sure what's happening. But they, at the same time, not sure what the next move is. They're not really ready to make the investment. So a lot of people I've seen as well are hesitant right now because they would rather keep a little nest egg in. And it's very important that that is there. Obviously it's the insurance and insurance, I guess, would be like what you would say, to whatever situation they might need to pay bills. But a lot of times getting somebody in that can have that clarity on an outside perspective is what they need. And so the challenge is like how can we overcome that, and how could they see it? So really it's about then showing that strategy, right? And by doing it, and a lot of the calls that I have is just how can we serve the situation a lot stronger? So when we see the strategies that they might have in place, and it being from a pre-COVID situation, it's about, okay, let's show you what now is the better move to move digitally. Story brand's all about doing a strategy via the actual brand story and a brand's identity. So what's the brand script, and creating that story. So they positions them as the guide, and then the guide generally in any story tends to be the one who takes the hero, which in this case is the customer, to where they need to go. So what I do then is just how can we change that story where it's not about them now wanting to get a sale and become the best business and having all this kind of money in situations that they're not working in, it's not, the strategies aren't working, to now being the guide, serving their clients out and having a clearer strategy, not just for their clients, but for themselves.
Yeah. So really improving and increasing communication with all levels, probably. I mean, I would assume. That's interesting. So when we take a look at our data at my firm, THG, it's interesting to me that a lot of the people that we talk to, they want to set up maybe managing insurance plans, maybe, but they always want to set up tax sheltered plans and guaranteed investment plans. Because of what's going on right now, because they want to protect what they have. They want to make sure they have enough cash flow and assets in case if things get worse. But it's the number one thing is that the communication piece is really critical, because what happens if you have to let somebody go and it's your cousin, it's a sibling, or whatever it may be. That's a challenging thing. But what tips would you give, I guess, to other individuals or business owners to increase their presence, and whether it's marketing or whether it's just their social presence or whatever it may be?
Well, yeah, definitely. It's definitely just really swings back to that clarification of the story, the brand message itself. So defining what it is that you'll do, who do you want to serve, and that'll make that easier to make content elsewhere. What I like to say in content space, or being able to be present in places, is about where is your audience, and ultimately creating the right content for that place. If it's LinkedIn, if it's on Facebook, which you can do many things there still, even though people say it's overpriced and there's really no opportunity, or a lot of followers that are real a niche. But we can do is, if you create a content around that brand script and story, you're able to. So a couple of problems is about focusing on the problems. So really, what is the problem that the niche or your specific space is facing right now, and then creating a solution to that. And that just is one post. Then the next post can be the process that they can take them through, the steps that you do. Another post can be clients. So it's kind of that full circle of proving that and showing different, angles to your business that are able to, show and overcome the objections that potentially people are having. So with now, one of the things I like to point out is what could you Google that people are searching, and then make something off of that. That kind of resonates with what you were asking.
Yeah, that does. Actually, I wrote down defining your brand message. I like that, because what's interesting in our firm, our biggest brand message is honoring the entrepreneur. Because we hire and bring on other advisors that run their own book of business, so they have to be able to sell, manage. They have to be able to do everything from A to Z. The janitor to the owner. So that's interesting. I like that. Honoring the entrepreneur, but defining a brand message so others will Google it to see you. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, they'll definitely be able to see you. So it's about like answering those Googled questions. So what is the customer really, what are they asking? And then being able to define and create for that. a process that people could do to actually create content as well to get themselves out there. And depending on certain, again, where you're positioning yourself on social media, being consistent on that front. So posting regularly will be able to attract your ideal clients. And then that's where you continue to, make organic content and then continue to have those conversations. It's about having more conversations today, and to open up conversations will open up more opportunities for your business.
Yeah. And I want to echo what you said about defining a day. When I work with my new team, or my team, and any new members that come on my team, one of the first things we do is build out an ideal calendar.
Right.
We want to know what we do every morning, afternoon, and night, so we don't interfere with personal, professional, or financial stuff. So I'll echo that. That was great.
Awesome.
Well, thank you, Joey, so much. I've seen people give a lot of hearts. So
okay.
I can see it, guys. No, but I think a lot of what you were saying can resonate with a lot of entrepreneurs wherever they are right now in the world. Just from the balancing to kind of taking that strategy of, working hard for a certain amount of time and then balancing it with, okay, now it's time to take care of personal stuff. Or like you said, if you're going to go into a relationship and go into a business relationship at the same time, maybe get some paperwork done. I don't know. I don't know. Jim was like, don't do it.
Maybe.
Yeah, his experience.
But Jim, do you have anything to add before I kind of wrap up today?
No, that was that was great, Joey. A lot of things you said will resonate with me, my team, and a lot of our listeners. And if anyone has any questions about the small to mid-sized business owner folks, don't hesitate to reach out with me at THG.
Awesome. And Joey, do you have anything you would like to say to everyone in terms of where they can, obviously reach you if they're interested in, your services or anything else that you have coming up? I know we're hitting the end of the year into the holiday season, but 2021 is like, you should be planning that now.
Yeah, 100%.
First quarter, at least.
Yeah, well, I definitely, I understand and I feel, this time right now has a lot of uncertainty with Christmas around the corner. The year has given what it has, but I'd like to just send the message that there's going to be a lot of good coming from this. The abundance that will be grown, especially in the wealth industry. There's a big shift happening, and just adapt, pivot, and be confident that what you're doing today will reap the benefits if you just pursue and continue on. So I just wanted to let people know that with me and what I'm happening right now. Yeah, so a lot is happening. They can follow me on Facebook at Joey Bigelli, and on Instagram is the same. And basically on all social medias, you can follow me through there, where I'm actually doing a bunch of giveaways for this holiday season in the marketing space. So yeah, if you need anything there, please feel free to reach out anyways to ask me any questions. And I'm certainly giving a lot of things away in the near future to help brands and businesses just like yours succeed. So I really thank you for this opportunity, to the two of you too. I had a great time and I appreciate it.
Excellent, Joey. Thank you.
You guys heard it. He's giving away free stuff. So
yeah.
There's no reason not to follow him.
100%.
It's the easiest marketing. Just some giveaways. Okay, guys. Everybody.
Holidays. Let's enjoy it. Let's have some fun.
Holiday season. But yes, I want to thank my guest, Joey Bigelli. I also want to thank my co-host, Jim. If you have any questions about finances, if you're a small business owner or medium business size owner, please reach out to Jim. He knows what he's doing in finance. If you message me about finance, I will just redirect you to Jim. I don't know what to tell you. But if you are single and you are looking for love, if you are in any of the southern cities, as well as New York, New Jersey, we also have a few Canadians. Like I said, they're interested too. Then please reach out to us. We are almost done with our membership for starting in the new year, where we hopefully will be setting up virtual dates with all of the new members. And as soon as the vaccine is approved, then you guys can go on face-to-face dates. So please stop asking me that every day. I can't make it go faster. But we will get there as soon as it's safe to do so. But between now and then, we are still doing virtual dating every month. The next one is actually this Thursday. All ladies spots are completely filled except for I have 4 spots for guys. So if you are a single guy watching this, probably should message me. And all our information, if you're watching this on Love Talk's page, you can also message me on our Facebook, Instagram. It's the same, My Love Talk, MY, and then LUVTALK, as well as our website. But again, I want to thank our guest Joey Bigelli and my co-host Jim. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Be back here next week with different guests. As always, just be kind to one another. That's my suggestion. And we will get through this. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.